Your hubris will be your downfall, Necromancer.
If you have come to me in this manner, then you have found the book. For once, I am pleased with your impudence.
All in the name of science, my dear. All in the name of science.
Richard Carnell, advisor to the Baron.
I'm Marija from Niter, and this is
Stanislav.
Lady Carnell.
Alexander Pope, I'm sure you know.
Undead sailors hauled themselves into the Venetian boats. Soldiers dragged themselves from battlefields and clawed up from shallow graves to drive the Venetians from the land.
Character models are horrifying, and it's so cool.
Leaves. Those coppery call cards of fall. They're nice when they're up, but when they're down, they're everywhere. That's where I come in. Whether you need a roof cleared or a warehouse sorted, I've got you covered. Fill the bin, grab the bag, and toss it to the tarp. That's it. From my garage, I run a leaf-blowing business of myself, my cat, and a smorgasbord of projects. Each day is a new mess to be sorted, but my equipment's charged up and ready for the task, rain or shine. Speaking of gear, it's good to keep up with the new gadgets. And fashion? If my job is to improve the landscape, why not look good doing it? Courtyards, playing fields, beaches. Every place has its challenges and quirks. I just relax and let the leaf blower hum. Until it's time for a recharge. All right, back to work. While most of it can be done with my regular tools, sometimes it's nice to cut corners with some unconventional methods. There's plenty of clutter to clear out for a busy bee, but with a leaf blower in hand, everything looks like leaves.
talks after hours in an empty space. Catch a show all alone on the main stage, yeah. Getting hype for the drop of the mixtape. Lord knows that I wanna be the next Drake. Slide humble outside, still plays fake. And I hear every sound on the radio. Just wanna know what you're into. Can I hear every sound on the radio? Just wanna know what you're into.
What secrets are hiding here in Blake Manor? And where is Evelyn Dean? Time is running out.
Miss Dean didn't leave the hotel, and somebody wants us to think that she did.
I really need to sort that mess out.
I'm at my wit's end, Declan Ward.
Unregistered firearm? What is happening right now? Oh, please. What the is happening?
Wonderful. And that's the end of Super Hexagon. Congratulations, there's now a much larger percentage of people who have actually seen it.
Hi, and welcome to the behind-the-scenes featurette for Mazatrax. I got into video games because I was a gamer and I was just super interested in how things were made. So I thought now is as good a time as any to make something like this where other people can see the decisions that go into making a game and have a look behind the scenes of a small studio and peel back the curtain on how a video game like Mazatrax is made. But before we get to Mars Tracks, let's talk a little bit about the studio. I started Outlier with my friend Matt in 2018 as we were just working in our spare time on a little game called This Means Warp.
Like when we started, I was an ex-video game programmer. I was not an artist. We had like no real idea. Like we had an idea of what we were going to do, but we didn't have the skill set really built up. So there was a lot of throwing things in the garbage. So every weekend we'd sit down, like Sunday was our day. And for like 6 hours every Sunday, we would like go through all the design discussions. We'd talk through the dialogue, the story, the gameplay, like the art, everything that we needed to do for like the next week. And yeah, that got heated sometimes, you know, there's some battles in those days.
So this was really my first introduction to programming. I had no technical background, although I did work in the tech industry for a long time. And in our spare time, we were just building out this cool little game, which turned out to be our first commercial project. And the formation of the idea for Mars Tracks really came about because we wanted to build a simulation game, first and foremost. With the simulation genre locked in, then I had this idea for a game centered around aliens managing a zoo of humans. And when I was researching this, was kind of amazed to find that it hadn't really been done before. So I used to play a lot of games like Theme Hospital and Evil Genius and Dungeon Keeper, and felt that there weren't that many entries in the genre these days that had that kind of darkness and sadistic humor with a fresh coat of paint on the retro-ish gameplay for those kind of titles. At this stage, there was no attachment to Mars Attacks. We had the game concept and a very early prototype before actually approaching the IP, and was kind of interesting later when we announced the game that so many people just assumed that we are the owners of Mars Attacks and were looking to make a Mars Attacks game, and we chose this game as the Mars Attacks game, whereas in fact the opposite is true, that we chose this specific type of game and then went out looking for potential IPs that we could partner with to add a little character to it and make something super cool. Some people even thought that we invented the game around the game's title and the pun around Mars Attacks and Mars Tracks, which I would love to say was the case. But we had the concept first and then went looking for the IP. But when we did approach Tops, who own Mars Attacks, then there was really no question about what the title of the game would be. The idea just fit that so perfectly that we went in with the pitch of, this is Mars Tracks.
The key art is the first glance that we get of the game. So we really need to get it right so that we get the style across. This is me sketching out the composition for our key art. It's being used in very different ways, so it has to fit quite a few specifications. So I spent a good bit of time making sure that the composition is multi-purpose. Yeah, I guess the main things that I want to get across with this image is style and get a sense of an epic park. So I've chosen to go for a very wide shot with the park in the background, our Ferris wheel front and center, and then some of the Martian environment, of course. And then for our main focal point, we have our Martian representing the IP in the foreground, looking menacing. Yeah, so when it came to designing the Ferris wheel, we're starting off with, you know, an iconic, what everyone recognizes as a Ferris wheel, and I guess Martianifying it. This was the first time we actually had to define what the Martians' architectural language or the design aesthetic would be. This was the first ride we designed, so in hindsight, yeah, it's pretty good. But this led to conversations on how we could make things more interesting and inject a bit more of the Martians' character and personality into the designs.
Sammy had the idea that we could integrate elements of human anatomy into the rides themselves, and that led to a load of weird and gruesome looking rides, which really dominated the skyline of the park and looked awesome, but that introduced another problem. With the rides being so eye-catching, how do we prevent them from dominating the visuals of the game and keep the focus on the gameplay around humans and their enclosures, their needs and their escapes? So one idea that we had to solve this is to unlock the rides through the research tree. So as a player, you have to hire scientists and experiment on humans within their enclosures to unlock cooler and cooler rides that the Martians can enjoy within the park.
Yeah, it's just like in the process of kind of drawing this shit, like you get really weird ideas. And yeah, I can't actually, like I can't really explain where this came from.
All right, everybody. Is everyone here?
Yeah, we're in.
Alright, here we go. Nobody leaves unless we leave together.
This place is so creepy. Has anyone found any clues yet?
Hey guys, I think there's something here. What? You see that?
What we're looking for has to be in the ballroom. Okay, I think we need to split up. We're going to the kitchen. Good luck. What's that? You were supposed to be in the kitchen.
What the hell is that?
I'm pretty sure Kat stole something from me.
Oh yeah, she's definitely acting strange.
Weren't you disarming traps in here like 2 seconds ago? Never mind, get me up, get me up!
I would, but I really don't have the cards.
Help me! Please! Anyone?
the hinge of the world. You will rise through centuries of thought. Not by belief, but by control. The cave is patient. Failure is not punishment, it is instruction. There are no upgrades, no mercy, no shortcuts to understanding. Now, you must fall!
got to take this. Please. Don't let it take the case. This thing, it may take the form of someone else. I'm sorry. You need to get out of here. Now!
To challenge your perspective. Get ready. To switch up gravity. Get ready. To explore over 100 levels across 8 different worlds. Get ready to roll with AXYZ. Featuring an extensive soundtrack from a wide selection of artists. Available now on Steam.
Find the clue for the puzzle, I don't know where it is. This one, I need to hit the end one. This is the only one that manipulates that. Perfect!
I'm so smart. I love this little guy! Yeah! 40 cheese, baby!
Okay. Hassie. Oh, oh. Petty Thief, 87 seconds. Okay.
Welcome to your new job at the Familiar. Your first day should be a breeze. Make coffee, meet customers, and steal your boss's secret recipe? And blame your crime on someone else in the cafe? Well, that certainly makes things interesting. You've got plenty of potential scapegoats to choose from. A hard-working golem, an unruly skeleton, a sweet-toothed vampire, a siren social media star, and your boss. He's a dick. Cat. Interrogate your scapegoats, gather evidence to use against them, and choose who to accuse for your crime, with over 15 ways to close the case. But if you took a little time to get to know these people, maybe things could go a different way. Maybe they could even get to know the real you. Just make sure to use your time wisely before things reach a boiling point. When you're the one who done it, who will you get to spill the beans?